Well, there's no more putting it off. I have to figure out how to put the drawers in this thing. And drawers always make me nervous. Probably because I overthink it. So we need 3 drawers. And I believe I'm going to put the slides halfway through the drawers. So what I've got is an opening of 29 7/8. So halfway is there. 4 7/8. Will be half of that, and 4 7/8. So I just story taped it here. 4 15/16 from here to the center line. Same here, 4 15/16 from the top to the center line. 14 15/16 from either edge to the center line of the middle drawer. So I'm just going to take that and transfer it down. So the blocks I'm using for my drawers, the spacers, are 1 7/8. Well, if I take my center line and come 15/16 above it, that'll give me the top of that spacer. I'll just take a drafting triangle. That should be the top of my board. I guess I can glue in my spacers now. And I'm going to hold them in place with some 1-inch 18 gauge brads. My issue is I've got 1/4 sheets of plywood. I've had to have my sheets cut in 4 so I can get them transported in my car. So they're about 2 feet by 4 feet. So for my, I got to get 3 drawers out of it. So for my sides, I'm going to rip 9 inches off of each one to start with. And that should give me all my sides and maybe the backs or 2. depth of my drawer is 13 inches in. So I've set up a stop lock, and we'll cut those to size. We need 6 of them. And again, plugging in always helps. So the opening width on my cabinet, it's 16 inches wide. So I got to make my drawers 15 inches wide to allow a ½ inch on each side for the drawer slides. And then there'll be a ¼ inch on each side taken up for the lip. So I got my saw set at 14.5. And I'll rip one of my sheets of plywood that are left over so far. I'll cross cut that piece, same piece for a 13-inch drawer. For depth, I need 12.5 inches. It's the same 12.5 inches for the back. So we'll get those cut. Well, we still got the saw set up here. And our saw is back at the 9 inches we need for the height of the backs. And I messed up the backs, they're too short. They should have been the same width as the bottoms. Side, and the grain is going the wrong way on the bottoms, but it's plywood, so it doesn't really matter. And the back doesn't reach, and I don't know what I'm going to do now. I figured out what I went wrong. I measured it for a side dimension and not the width dimension. Okay, I went through my offcuts. I found 3 pieces and they worked. Well, now they're the same. The only problem is one of them has the grain going the wrong way. The inside back of a drawer, I hope we can get away with that. So we've got 6 sides and 3 bottoms and 3 backs. We need fronts now, but the front is open. So it's basically just a frame around it. So we don't need a complete front piece. We only need 2 pieces. One that goes along the bottom and one that goes along the top. So while I've got this stop block set up the same as the back, I'm going to cut this offcut into 3. Now with those 3 pieces, the same as the back and the bottom, we're going to rip them to 2.5 inches. Well, we're getting into it now. I've got to put grooves in for the bottom to sit in. So 3 of the front pieces that go to the bottom. 3 of the back pieces. Let's hold it. 1, 2, 3 of the back pieces. 3 of the back pieces need a groove on the bottom. And then 6 of the sides all need a groove for the bottom to fit in. Plus the sides needs the same groove up each side for the front and the back to sit in. And I've marked them all out just to make sure. I've set up a 1/4 inch dado blade, and this side is the width of my plywood away. 1/2 inch plywood, that's not exactly a 1/2 inch. So, you know, you have to make adjustments. So the height, I've left it so I'm leaving 1/4 inch. So it's not a 1/4 inch deep. I'm leaving a 1/4 inch of thickness. Well, I put another chipper inside my dado set and buried it inside of a sacrificial fence. And now I've got to put the tongue all the way around the bottoms, on the back, and the front sides. And those will fit in the grooves in the sides, and the bottom ones will fit in these grooves. So now the back fits into the side. Alrighty, let's see how we did. The side, a back, a front piece with a groove in it. A front piece with no groove in it. A bottom. Oh, I see what's going on. Also, because the back is backwards, we're out by that much. So our bottoms have to be trimmed up just a touch. Well, it works. That's our basic drawer with an open front. Now let's hope we're 15 inches wide. Exactly. 13 inches deep. That will be our bin. I think what I'm going to do is use 3/4 inch brads to hold it together. I like it. 2 more to do. Oh, there we go. 3 drawers. Drying. I think I got everything right on them. Like I said, drawers aren't my forte. They always make me nervous. But these little lock joints, they seem to be the easiest way so far. It's how I did my tool cabinet. I probably should have thought of this earlier, but I don't like that groove in there, seeing as it's going to be holding food. So what I've done is I've cut some little filler blocks in there, and I will glue them in to that spot right there. It's not doing anything except just filling in a groove, and so yeah, we'll just get maybe a bit of glue on the top and the bottom too, just to make sure. Not doing much except filling in that groove. There's some of the squeeze out. And keep it lined up. And can I get a clamp in there? Sure. There. You see that just fills in the groove and makes it flush with that. How about that? I didn't have the camera turned on. Anyways, I need a slot too, actually, in each side and two in the back, so the drawer is ventilated. So what I've done is I put a piece of plywood on each end. I've taken the base of my router and spun it so I have a stop on each side to go against each one of these things, a 1/2 inch down spiral bit, and a fence. And before I start, I gotta change my battery. Okay, so here we go. Stop on each side, that'll stop the router. My fence set up. 1/2 inch down cut spiral bit. Bring that side up against the fence, and it takes about 4 or 5 passes, maybe more. Just don't get too ambitious and it seems to come out alright. And take a hold fast. And we've got the sides ventilated. And the inside, and it's not too bad. A little bit of sanding. So now I got to do the rest of the sides and across the back too. Nice thing about the back is I've got that bump, so I can already have the stop built into the back. So that'll save a little bit. Well, there's our 3 drawers, all ventilated. And with just a quick touch of the sandpaper, they look alright. Next, I've taken some walnut, or some maple, and I milled it down about a 1/2 inch wide by a 1/4 inch, and that will be trimmed for the top of the drawers so you don't see the top of the plywood. So I've got my thin strips, about a 1/4 of an inch thick. I was thinking of mitering the corners, but then I thought, well, normal drawers usually aren't. So I'm just going to butt joint them. And we'll take the measurement right off the side. Now I could pin nails these, put some 18 gauge brads to the top of it, but I really don't want to see that. So I'm just going to glue them and clamp them. And I've got the typical woodworker's lament about not having enough clamps. So we're just going to do it in stages. And the other thing I'm doing different is I'm using just a white PVA glue. I usually use exterior waterproof on just about everything. But because the maple is so light colored, I think my trim pieces I'll just use the white glue for it. Well, with a little creativity, I managed to get one whole drawer done up. And that maple on top looks a lot better than the plywood on top. And I figure when you make a drawer out of solid wood, you don't have mitered corners anyways. They come out looking similar to that. So there we go. Let that dry for a bit, and then we'll get on to the next ones. And that looks much better than the top of the plywood showing. And that's 3 of them done. Of course, there's going to be a front put on here yet. So there we go. Now we have to fit them into the cabinet. I've already got the runners put in to fur this out level with here. And actually one of these is a little bit thicker than the other side, only by about a 32nd or so. But the trick now is to see if everything comes together to put the slides in. And I've got these slides here, and they're 100-pound side mount slides, and when they get to a soft close, they get to a certain point and close by themselves. So I got a little bit resistance right there until it lets go, and then when it comes in, it hits the thing, and then when you get past that little, it sucks it in by itself. So yeah, this is what my shop is looking like right now, well, at least this part of it. So those have to go in there because I want to keep room for the false front. So I've already got a center line marked on here. We'll get the slides mounted next. Not today though, the weather looks like it's turning for the worse, so I'm going to bring my drawer boxes inside and let them dry overnight. I don't want them getting too cold.